All right, left, you're live.
Okay, so we'll reconvene to open session. Welcome back. Welcome. We will go on to number 5 on the agenda where there's no presentations. Am I correct there? Am I off mute?
Yeah. You are.
Okay. So then we'll go to public comment number 6. So who gets the pleasure of reading public comments?
Mr. Maracle and I will be reading the public comments, and we'll be taking turns.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to start us off. And there's about 10 comments. Some of them are a little bit lengthier. So I'm going to go ahead and start. We don't have a name for this one. It says, please put your curriculum, alcohol and drug awareness, learning so that children can understand the dangers of addiction and the dangers to their health in future lives. Many get that MAD to do the guest Zoom class. Just got suggestion with the COVID. Best.
Thank you.
Okay, the second comment also has no name. Thank you for the important work you do. I am puzzled, why is reopening schools even being considered? We are in the middle of a pandemic with 212,000 Americans dead and counting. Our county often reaches close to over 100 new cases a day. Reopening our schools would have negative consequences for our children as well as other people in our community. Please keep that in mind when making decisions about reopening schools.
Thank you.
This comment is from Renee. Why are schools not opening, but my child can sit in daycare all day? Why are teachers exempt from returning to work to teach? And every other professional has gone back to work with revised safety. A lot has been at our own expense to purchase PPE if we were not comfortable with what we were given by our company. Why is it that we buy spirit wear face masks, but our children are not returning to school? Why is it what is the district doing to burn out because our students and parents are over the often daily battles of getting work completed? Why are teachers not uniform and having the same teaching schedule? One teacher does an hour in the morning, another teacher has a meeting, then a break, and then other meetings until noon. Another teacher is teaching from 8:30 to 3 with breaks for lunch and snacks. This distance learning is beginning to unravel because it has gone on for too long. Students are not retaining anything. They are answering questions and forgetting. Following the science behind the lockdown would have had us open before now. Those who do not feel safe can keep with distance learning. Those who are comfortable with on campus with face masks and hand sanitizer can return.
Thank you.
This is from Annabelle. What has happened to the funding through the CARES Act that was allocated or allotted, specifically for school reopening? What is being done to get us to on-campus classes? Nothing is being transparent, and it's infuriating because you are not dealing with the burnout or the meltdown because of technology of those Chromebooks are crap. My kid is unmuted randomly. I sat with them and watched, and my child has their hands in their lap. They're beyond slow. I've tried different locations, my house, grandparents, Starbucks parking lot, and they all get stuck. How many children have acted out at home due to their forced isolation? How many have broken a bone, self-harmed, been overly emotional, lashed out, stressed, cried for almost no reason other than a teeny tiny inconvenience of their water cup being empty? That's right, you don't see that aspect of it. Teachers hide behind a screen and they play dumb to the fact that their students are nowhere close to the potential they have if they were allowed in school. The WHO has even said lockdown are unhealthy. Follow the science, not the idiot in the governor's office who is on trial for the abuse of power. If every school opened and welcomed students back with face masks and hand sanitizers, it would do so much for everyone. Are you going to wait until the election is over and admit it was a political game? By the way, there is a call for a blackout of classes the 19th through 25th. Although with the burnout students are feeling, it should be until the district gives students their right to quality education back. Excuse me if I'm stumbling over the words here. And then there's address https://fb-me/e 1QBFWQVQ.
Thank you.
Does Rancho Cotati have a reopening? Oh, I'm sorry, Shannon Eberhardt. Does Rancho Cotati have a reopening plan in place? Meaning once we hit the red tier and the 4 weeks are up, will Ranch be ready for students, or will they need some additional time? Thank you.
This is from Tracy. Weeks ago on social media, I saw a report that someone had gotten to a live class meeting and posted inappropriate images. Later that week, Melissa Quinn sent out a generic email telling of the incident, actually giving parents any details or informing parents about what the measures the district was going to take regarding keeping meets secure. I replied and asked those questions. What is now being done to prevent this from happening again? And to date, I have not received a response. This was September 25th. So now I ask the board and the district, following the incident, what is the district doing to ensure that the live instructions are attended only by students?
Did we lose Robert?
I think we did. I'll finish it up. What is the district doing to ensure that live instruction are attended only by the students and are safe and secure? The next comment is from Sally. For the board that ran on transparency, including Tim Non running for election, the board still is not showing their faces on virtual meetings, and most haven't since March. If you can't be transparent about that, what else are you not being transparent about?
Okay, the next one is from Susan Taylor, and bear with me, this is a long one. I am currently a parent of 3 children enrolled in the school district. I currently have 2 middle schoolers as well as a high schooler. I feel it is imperative that I address our district board of trustees, administrators, parents, and even youth that are listening. It is imperative that I bring attention to the deep lack of regard for our children's future, our children's education, and our children's mental health within our district. First and foremost, my children, being preteens and teenagers, are old enough to distinguish that their personal rights and civil liberties are not being considered. My children, as are many other children in the district, are old enough to understand the medical statistics, to read and to interpret the county and state weekly measures, to know that they should have a district that advocates for them, not a district that does nothing but operate on fear and lack of motivation. They deserve a district that shows them that they want to strap on their boots and fight for them. Instead, sadly, what they do witness is the reopening of other schools, the step-by-step plans of other district schools to begin the reopening process, along with the ability to play sports and participate in natural educational events paramount to their livelihood, and most of all, mental health. As a result, what they are tragically realize is that their own community and district does not feel it's necessary to make the strides to reopen, to knock through the hurdles, to reopen their schools, or to give them the education they deserve. As a parent, to sit back and watch our school board discuss the future of my own child's education is hard enough. But what is far worse is the fact that our community only sees and listens to a deplorable narrative, one where nothing is capable of achieving. Furthermore, community parents and even teachers as well are being forced to accept a board and administration that is full of excuses, full of agenda, full of negative conversation, and is severely lacking encouragement regarding reopening our schools. I can honestly state that this district continues to demonstrate that reopening is an impossible situation. Our children, especially our secondary age children, are witnessing on a daily basis the failure of their district. From the cancellation of schools due to server issues to the witnessing of extremely graphic and lengthy pornographic videos and nudity to the large number of falling grades and an inability to manage the multiple notifications and expectations regarding distance learning. Quite simply, these children are being forgotten. Distance learning is failing our children. It is ineffective and addicting. Our own community's youth are suffering screen addiction, eye deterioration, muscle atrophy, social and academic anxiety, lack of motivation, suicidal thoughts, extreme frustration, loss of ability to research using context rather than Google, technological anger and bitterness, and resentment towards schools in general. In addition to the medical and emotional consequences distance learning implements, there is also the serious future workforce and annual earning deficit that is apparent our district fails to consider. Our children will be competing with the same workforce as the other children in other districts in other cities and other states, those of which have had far better advantage due to the fact that they have been receiving an effective and robust education while our children struggle through distance learning. Their competitors will have better social skills, problem-solving skills, communication skills, hand-on learning advantages, and not to mention organizational skills. According to the Penn-Wharton budget model, these school closures will cost students between $43,000 to $57,000 in their future earnings. Younger students will lose even more. Unless students do not get back in the classroom, the students will not be able to catch up on lost learning, and these losses will likely be permanent. Is this what you want for our children? The continuation of distance learning will befall far more complications and risks than the virus itself. Our community's children are being disregarded and shockingly abandoned. At some point, our district needs to remember the population at risk for COVID is not our future. Our future generation is our children, that the very same children that are being forced to make severe and life-altering sacrifices for a disease that is not going away. According to Ed sources, our district receives $4,308,644 under the CARES Act. Why is that? Why is the narrative that we do not have the funds to reopen? Why are the funds not being allocated for reopening? Most importantly, why is the district not looking to the future and making concrete plans? According to our own California Health Secretary, Dr. Mark Ghali, I quote, "There has not been a connection between increased transmissions and school reopenings or in-person learning." According to our local health department, our county has been positive COVID cases for the same individual multiple times, therefore, counting and tests, not the actual population infected. Our numbers are skewed, and as the county will not allow reopening until the appropriate tier, it is obvious that the projected infections that could occur while the person learning is far less at risk than reported. Our community currently has multiple open and largely populated pumpkin patches, women marches, peaceful protests, and community parks. It is public knowledge we remain in the purple tier, but with all those inconsistencies, there is no room to make excuses preventing our schools to reopen. When we move to a less restrictive tier, it is absolutely expected that our district has to be ready to move at least a hybrid in-person learning model. If this is not the case, then it is clear abuse of our children, and our future generations fall on our board, our administration, and unfortunately, our teachers union.
Thank you. Is that it, or is there more?
There's more.
Mara, did you fall off? I think we lost Myra.
Okay. Well, I
We
will
didn't lose.
continue.
You want to continue?
Sure. If my voice holds up,
Okay.
we'll go. This is from Susan Taylor. I ask you to simply understand this small fact in regards to the teachers. They are working twice as hard to make half the difference for the same pay. With facts as these, our district needs to be standing strong before the teachers union standing strong with creating robust reopening plans and giving our children, who are becoming a far larger population of victims, a narrative that provides them with actual hope. The doomsday mentality expressed among the district is detrimental. As a parent, I plead with you, make our district's children essential and fight for them. Thank you.
Thank you. So is that it?
Nope, there's 3 more I have here.
Can you continue in Myra's absence, please?
I see Myra back on.
I'm back.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
So the next comment would be from Dan. Myra, do you want to pick up on that, or you want me to continue?
Yeah, let's see if I can read it. It's really small. That's the problem. I don't have my big computer screen. Can you go ahead and read it, Robert? I'm not going to be able to see it.
Okay. The way families were informed of the school closure on Friday, October 16th, was a joke. It was not communicated effectively and left already stressed and overwhelmed parents confused and frustrated. The first email and phone call said all live instruction was canceled. This left some of our kids' schools saying to look at Google Classroom for work, and some saying school has been canceled. I already have multiple kids at multiple levels in multiple schools. To have no one be on the same page is beyond frustrating. It was almost 9:30 to 10 a.m. before some sites amended their information saying that all schools were closed. When will this makeup day be? There still hasn't been any communication. This is the 4th year where there have been emergency closures at some kind. You think the district would know how to do it and communicate it effectively by now. Okay, next one is from Jessica. It's time for a change in Roner Park, on the Roner Park School Board of Trustees. I support Michelle Wing. She is something Tim Nahn lacks, integrity. I'm disappointed to learn that the North Bay Labor Council and the Sonoma County Democrats have chosen to support Tim Nahn. Just as we expect our students to do their homework, these organizations should have done theirs. To illustrate, Tim Nahn did not support the last school bond measure for the district. This bond brought hundreds of labor jobs to the local area, supporting the local district. The local economy. Many of the tradespeople hired were locals who were hired to complete projects such as the tag building at Rancho Cotati High School. If Tim Nahn had his way, there would be no tag building and no labor jobs. Equally important to today's political climate are ethics and transparency. Nahn's 2016 campaign was fined $5,500 for campaign finance violations. Somehow he was able to pay the fine, though not with his own money. Further, I'm shocked that Nahn has taken money from the California Charter Schools Association advocates. This Betsy DeVos organization goes against what is needed in public education. Our teachers should be scared of Mr. Nahn. Again, if only these organizations have done their homework, they would join me in supporting Michelle Wing. That was from Jessica. Okay, let me catch my breath here, and I have one more long one to go here.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Members of the school board, candidates, and community members. What are some of the effects this continued distance learning is having on our students?
Whoops, Robert froze. You ran out of steam. Your computer did. So Myra,
Okay, so it's just really hard for me to read, and I'm not in my office, so I don't have all my screens. What are the effects of continued distance learning having on our students? I took some time to speak with the record person for the Child Protective Services investigator in Sonoma County. I described things my child is feeling in the this is just, I don't have the right lighting. I'm so sorry.
it's okay. Does anyone else? Does Mindy
Alicia.
or?
Yeah, Mindy, can you read the comment?
Can you-
Sure, I can read. I can read it. Sure.
Thank you, Mindy.
Sure. This is from Renee. Members of the school board, candidates, and community members. What are the effects this continued distance learning is having on our students? I took some time to speak with an off-the-record person from a Child Protective Service investigator, not in Sonoma County. I described things my child is feeling in a generalization. The CPS worker said it would sound like child abuse. Asked if I was homeschooling or participating in distance learning. What question mark? What does distance learning get? An automatic pass to be okay to do this to my children? The time to return to campus was months ago. Be transparent with this, or you may be looking at a class action lawsuit against the district and the Teachers Association, or the irreparable damage they are causing students. Have you asked how many students now see counselors in some capacity as to when they were on campus? Does any of it bother you, or is it because it doesn't affect your life directly, you simply don't mind? Googling what is child abuse. First responses is from childhelp.org. Child abuse is when a parent or caregiver, whether through actions of failing to act, causes injury, death, emotional harm, or risk of serious harm to a child. There are many forms of child maltreatment, including neglect, physical abuse, sexual abuse, exploitation, and emotional abuse. Teachers used to be caregivers in a sense that were responsible for children, but they are still responsible for them in distance learning. Our students still spend time logged into classrooms, still receive instruction from them on task. We can argue teachers are still responsibility and caring for their education, correct? Question mark. Next, Googling what is mental child abuse. First response is from childwelfare.gov. Emotional or psychological child abuse is a pattern of behavior that impairs a child's emotional development or sense of self-worth. This may include constant criticism, threats, or rejection, as well as withholding love, support, or guidance. This distance learning is behavior that impairs our students' emotional development and their sense of self-worth. Many, many parents have meltdowns over students feeling dumb or incompetent due to challenges with technology or the workload or the overall stress of not being able to be a child and see their future. Next, Googling what is psychological abuse. Great first article that came up from the healthline.com, 64 signs of abuse. Most do not apply, however, these do. Shutting down communication. They'll ignore your attempts at conversations in person, by text, or by phone. Reason it applies. Limited time to communicate, cannot be seen/heard with everyone else on the meeting. Keeping you from socializing. Whether you have plans to go out, they come up with a distraction or beg you not to go. Reason, obvious, keeps everyone home. Demanding respect. No perceived, my contacts. No perceived slight will go unpunished and you're expected to defer to them, but it's a one-way street. Reason, many teachers demand the respect, but are callous when returning it. Adults are able to adjust and adapt. Children do too as well, but they are still very social beings, and having that interaction has always been an integrated part of growing up. Trivializing. When you want to talk about your hurt feelings, they accuse you of overreacting and making mountains out of molehills. Reason, not one board member has accurately talked from a parent's firsthand experience. Sadly, they are not in the position to make choices for a child they know nothing about. Sounds similar to the pro-life/pro-choice argument, question mark? People shouldn't make up laws for women's bodies, just like if they will not be directly affected with the outcome. Unpredictable. Reason, CRPUSD experienced a malfunction at district level that caused a failure to do distance learning. Thus, last minute having to find activities for numerous students. Some parents had to call out so they could be home with their child, since their child was no longer going to have the structure of class to log into. A big upswing in attacks on children being left home by predators who have watched their parents have to work. How many teachers know if their child is home alone? How many parents have to leave the house to work? How many are without daycare because they are so full? Is the teacher going to be able to call 911 and give the child's address? Is the district going to address or train teachers on what to do if an attack happens while a student is logged in? Not just an uninvited guest into the online meeting, but a person in the same room with the child. The longer to plan and implement the return to campus, the more issues students will have to face. Parents have to work, but our society right now has proved only teachers and the elderly are important. Everyone else has to return to work so they can keep food on the table, a roof over their heads, and lights on. Why is there such a huge discrepancy between job/class of people that this all is acceptable? The healthcare workers are more at risk than teachers. The cashiers at Safeway or any other store is more at risk than teachers. I have yet to have my temperature checked to buy groceries. Students can have their temperatures checked as entering campuses, hand sanitizer up, keep their mask on. It may be a learning curve for a few of them to keep it on all the time, but they will be able to see their friends in person and not through a computer screen that has put a damper on personalities. They will be able to raise their hand and be seen and heard by the teacher, not waiting and possibly not get the question answered they had. Finally, the district needs to come down hand on the teachers union and state teachers need to be in the classroom. Failure to do so is grounds for letting go, just as in other sectors. If the grocery store unions said our clients aren't going to work anymore, everyone else would demand they open to get food. Why is this not the same for getting an education?
Thank you, Mindy. Appreciate
You're
reading it.
welcome.
Okay. So that's all the comments, correct, Myra?
Yes, those are all the comments for this evening.
Okay. So we'll go to 7, communications, student board members report. So I forget who went first last time. So should we go with Regan?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Over the past few months, Rancho has had many activities taken place. Seniors were able to go on campus and sign their names on the newly painted senior stage, which was really cool. And senior class council did an amazing job painting the stage for the class of 2021. Several sports, such as volleyball, cheer, and football, have begun conditioning. They all practice while maintaining social distance, and they do wear masks. Our quarter had ended on October 9th, and over the next several days, Prestige Photography will be taking yearbook photos for all the students, and the photos will be taken in the tag building, so there's plenty of space to maintain social distance protocol. Later in the meeting, there will be a movement made whether to allow Rancho to donate to Sutter Women's Health or not. I would like to encourage all of you to consider vote yes, as your vote would be very beneficial to many people. Rancho Cotati is a very philanthropic school, and I am very proud of the hard work that went into what we do for our community. Not only do we put on blood drives to save hundreds of lives, which we are the #1 high school in the North Bay for blood donations. We collect record-breaking amount of cans for NOAA during our annual canned food drives. We also fundraise and donate to Sutter Women's Health. Our donations make a huge impact on the lives of many mothers, grandmothers, sisters, aunts, etc. I ask you to please consider how important this is to not only me, but also my fellow Cougar community. We all care very deeply about our contribution to our community, and we hope you continue to support us by voting yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Regan. Appreciate that. Addison? Welcome. Hello.
Hello, everyone. So recently at the beginning of the month, there was a widespread fire evacuation. And after that, I want to thank the school for helping out students like me who had evacuated and checking in with students and making sure they were all right, as well as it was really, really beneficial. In other news, as for our current projects, we had Club Rush, which happened October 9th, and we had Google Meets for each and every club, where ASB advisors as well as students could go in and look and see what clubs they wanted to sign up for. We had 9 out of 17 new clubs this year, including Art Club, World Cuisine Cooking Club, Architecture Club, Motorcycle Club, Tech High Newspaper, Programming Club, Butt Club, Gardening Club, and Card Club. In the aftermath, it was a major success. And we had a quarter of our entire student body participate, and even though we had distance learning challenges, it was still engaging and awesome for all students involved. As for Spirit Week, we have 2 Spirit Weeks this month, one during the week of October 13th and one on the week of October 26th, as well as an additional day this Friday for a meme Kahoot. For the first week, we had Background Day, Masquerade Day, Pajama Day, and a Meme Day, which was moved to this Friday. And for the week of October 26th, we had a Monster Monday, Troll Tuesday, Witch/Wizard Wednesday, Throwback Thursday, and a Freaky Friday. For our Meme Kahoot this Friday, we will have students will be able to answer trivia questions on Kahoot based upon memes that students know for a chance to win a $10 Target gift card, which has now been changed to a DoorDash meal. It has been moved to this Friday. As for our other projects, we had Tech High marketing videos with ASB student participation and teacher interviews shared all across our school-wide social media. We had a general media committee, a Zoom rally committee, and a dance committee currently in the works making pandemic alternatives. And we have had yearbook surveys come out with our yearbook members surveying a large portion of our population for random questions to be placed in the yearbook. And we've had club photos. As for our last project, we've had a canned food drive, which is happening tomorrow. As for tomorrow, we'll have an English materials pickup day as well as a side canned food drive. And when we pick up school materials, ASB students will be collecting canned goods to donate to the Redwood Food Bank between times of 1 to 3 p.m. or 5 to 7 p.m. In past years, the canned food drive had been an opportunity for students to compete across classes for prizes, and this year is slightly distant, and we're maintaining the social distancing and pandemic procedures. ASB will be giving away free Dippin' Dots to anyone who brings over 5 cans, and our current goal is 200 cans total. As I end off this speech, I'd like to continue for our school to focus on overcoming adversity as students and teachers return to normalcy, as well as maintaining the strong mental support we've had for students as we hit a quarantine anniversary. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, we have the 7B, Rohnert Park Cotati Educators Association. Myra, who do we have?
Emily King,
Emily,
president,
okay.
will be
Hi,
presenting.
I'm here. Sorry, I was having a
Hi, Emily. How
trouble
are you?
unmuting myself, but I'm here.
Good.
Good evening, President Trustee Brown, members of the school board, and Superintendent Perez. As autumn rolls in this year, we may not be planning fall festivals or homecoming dances, but our educators are still making the best of it. Some teachers have transformed their virtual classrooms to reflect the changing seasons, complete with spooky surprise activities for their students to find. Others are planning pumpkin science and math lessons and costume spirit days to engage students and celebrate the season. As an educator, October can often be a hard month. The newness of the start of the school fades, the workload can feel really heavy, and we start to worry about how to cover all the material while caring for and supporting our students. Sometimes this is known as the October blues. However, every year, including this year, our team pushes through these challenges to rise to the moment. This year, of course, we have the added challenge of the pandemic and distance learning, but our educators continue to go above and beyond to develop new ways of connecting with students to create a sense of normalcy and even a little fun. Last month, I spoke with you about the challenges we are facing as educators, including the overwhelming workload and long hours. And while these challenges still remain, we have seen some good progress this month on a number of fronts. School sites are reviewing both successes and challenges and working to continue to refine strategies to better serve our students. Schools are assessing the workload for students and families and altering plans and expectations accordingly. Distance learning is not ideal, but it is necessary to ensure the safety of all of us right now. As the year goes on, we're figuring it out and we're seeing some success. Kids are learning even if it looks different than what we're used to. I'd also like to acknowledge that the district has heard our concerns for the well-being of our staff, and Matt Marshall set up a series of support webinars with Maria Freebairn-Smith, the local restorative and wellness expert. The first one was this afternoon, and it was wonderful. These optional Zoom sessions are designed to offer our team wellness strategies. In addition, administrators have been reaching out to our staff and trying to foster community and connection between staff. Our county is still in the purple tier, which means that we cannot open for in-person learning, not due to our board members' decision, but because of our state and county guidelines. Nevertheless, our association is still in the process of planning for if and when we are able to return to the classroom with students. We are working collaboratively with the district on an in-person memorandum of understanding and a return to school plan for when it is safe. We greatly miss being with our students, and we all wish that we could be back in our classrooms, but we know that the safety of our students, our staff, and our community take precedence. We are all in this together, and schools must be a part of the solution, not the problem. We will, therefore, return to in-person learning, but only when it's safe. In our negotiations with the district, we are discussing important issues like personal protective equipment, how to prepare schools and classrooms for adequate physical distancing, maintaining stable ingress and egress points and one-way walkways, HVAC systems and air filter updates, school schedules, small class cohorts, contract tracing, COVID testing, and more. Our MOU draft is a 40-page document that we are working through collaboratively in weekly meetings with the district team. There's a lot to think through, and returning to in-person learning will take careful and deliberate planning, which we are working on. Our MOU will provide direction and protection for our association members. However, we see ourselves as negotiators for the common good. We are not only looking to protect our own, but also to ensure the collective safety and health of all our CRPUST students and staff, as well as the community at large. We can return to in-person learning, but again, only when it's safe. Our teachers do have some trepidations about how in-person teaching and learning will work. Some of our staff will not be able to return due to their personal health or the health of a family member. What will their options be? If we implement a hybrid schedule, our members are concerned about how they will support students in the classroom and those learning remotely at the same time. The work necessary to do both would be a huge change in working conditions, so careful planning is necessary so that teachers can adequately perform their duties. In order to maintain social distancing and limit the exposure of staff and students, we believe that cohorts should be 12 students or less. Many of our classes have more than 24 students, so there may need to be more than 2 cohorts for each class, which makes scheduling much more difficult. This is not to say it can't be done. It only means that we need time to create and implement plans to return only when it's safe. I also want to thank you for putting the Prop 15 resolution on the agenda tonight. As you all know, Prop 15 will increase funding sources for public schools, community colleges, and local government services by changing tax assessment of commercial and industrial properties. It really addresses the inequities in school district funding and will improve funding for all of our schools, especially our low-income schools. This is essential to ensuring equity and access for all of our students. For CRPUSD, Prop 15 would mean an additional $3 million plus in funding every single year. I really encourage members of the public to read the text of the bill and go to the nonprofit and nonpartisan website, ballotpedia.com, to learn more about Prop 15. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and it's important to see that this proposition will not increase taxes for individual homeowners or small businesses, and renters will be protected. In fact, Prop 15 retains all current protections for homeowners. It also specifically exempts all businesses operating out of the home and exempts small businesses owning non-residential commercial property worth less than $3 million. It is also phased in over 3 years to give everyone adequate time to prepare. When large, wealthy businesses don't pay their fair share, we all lose. Since Prop 13 passed in 1978, the residential share of property taxes has skyrocketed from 55% to 72%, while the share of property taxes paid by non-residential commercial property has declined. I think we all know that our schools are underfunded. California has some of the most crowded classrooms in the nation, and we are struggling to respond to the impacts of COVID-19. Prop 15 provides us a way to better fund our schools and support our students as we look to the future. I hope you will all join RIPSIA in endorsing and voting yes on Prop 15. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Emily. Appreciate that. We'll go to 7C, receipt of official correspondence. So Myra, we have a letter from the Sonoma County Office of Education.
Yes, this is the letter that we receive annually based on our budget and basically approving our budget as submitted by Mr. Maracal.
Okay. And then also a letter from the Redwood Empire Schools Insurance Group.
Yes,
Public
that
Health
is from,
Insurance.
yes, that's from more commonly known as RESIG, and it's an annual report that we post online.
All right. Anything that needs to be pointed out in either of those two documents?
Mr. Maracal, is there anything that we want to point out, or?
Are we good with?
No, the RESIG one is basically just their annual report. There's nothing in there that's eye-opening or anything we need to be concerned about. And the letter from SCO is, as Dr. Perez said, is on our budget. And what is a little bit different on this one, it does also include the 45-day budget revision.
Okay. Thank you. I like your where you are, Mr. Maracal. It appears that you're on some tropical location. So
yeah, I wish I was, with all the technical difficulties we're having tonight. So
yeah, maybe
I'm on device number 3 here. So hopefully this one will hold up.
Device number 3 has an interesting. Anyway, so we will go on to the consent agenda. So I did not have any items on that. So may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Joe. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a second from Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Oppose? Motion passes 5-0. We'll go on to number 9, educational services. Teacher laptops to support distant learning. A.
Yes, what we're realizing is we have increased use of our teacher laptops due to distance learning. So instead of a typical recycle process of 5 years to buy new computers, we're having to do that a little bit sooner. And also, we want to be able to use the platform compatible to the new Google features. So that requires us to buy a teacher laptop. So that is what the item before you today.
Okay. Board members, questions? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the purchase of the teacher laptops to support distance learning?
I'll make a motion for 9A, teacher laptops to support distance learning.
Thank you, Joe. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We will go on to 9B, ratification of the Comcast agreement.
This is an agreement that we have. We know that we have some families, not many, that do not have reliable internet or access to Wi-Fi. So this allows us to develop a contract with Comcast to be able to make sure that those students have the Wi-Fi that they need for their classes.
Okay. Questions, board members?
Dr. Perez, this is Tim.
Yes.
I have a question. I mean, this is fantastic. I'm really glad you're doing this. But in looking at the document, it just seems like the speed is so slow. Is there any way to increase the speed for this service?
You know, I think this is a service they offer and that we're able to to secure for our families. Mr. Markle, is there anything else that you'd like to add to that?
No, this is a special program that Comcast is offering, and which allows us to purchase that for a year for the families. And so it is the program that they have that's available.
We're just
Okay,
happy
thank you.
that the district is able to do that.
Yes.
How many families are we anticipating that are going to utilize this?
Well, right now there's a minimum of 25 license or 25 accounts that we have to pre-purchase, and we're not anticipating using all of those. So it's just a handful. Right now we do have the hotspots, which is meeting the needs for the most of the families, but we do have a few that are continuing to have some issues. So we're, again, happy to be able to offer this.
All right. Any other questions? Not, may I have a motion to ratify 9B, the
So
ratification
moved.
of the Comcast agreement? So I got heard a so move and a second.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carry, opposed? And motion carries 5-0. We will go on to 10A, Business and Operational Services, approval of Rancho Cotati High School ASB to conduct a fundraiser for a nonprofit group.
Yeah, I'll take that one. So one of the student councils at Rancho Cotati High School, they made this request. They want to do a fundraiser with 10% of their sales going to the Sutter's Women Health in recognition of the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The ASB, or Associated Student Body, has very strict guidelines, and one of those is that donations to nonprofit organizations are not allowable because they're considered a gift of public funds. However, they may be able to organize that fundraiser as long as the event is clearly identified as this is what we're doing. We're raising funds for this, and that they're able to set up a separate trust fund and then close that up shortly after. The key to this is that none of the money goes into the regular ASB accounts. It needs to be totally separate. The checks are also payable to the breast cancer awareness and not to the ASB. So some contingencies there that we need to not jump through, but we need to make sure that we're addressing. And then the final stage of that, obviously, is that it does require board approval.
So just a comment, I mean, ASB does lots of great things, and I support this 100%, but they go out and Tech High does this too. I mean, they do can drives, and this is just a little different where money changes, and I guess there's some red tape that causes it. They're able to give lots of food for can drives. They give blood, for the blood drive. Yeah. So I totally support this. It's just, I guess we have to follow the red tape and go through what we have to do to give money type thing. So, well,
the key to the Associated Student Body is the money is supposed to be donated or raised, the fundraisers for the students. And the fact that this money is going outside, it's not directly to the students is the reason that we have to do this.
Yeah. Even though the students know in this fundraiser that they are donating a percentage to this organization, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions from board members? Okay, can I have a motion to approve this item, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, in stereo there. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. There you go, Regan. Go raise millions of dollars. Okay, so we'll go on to 11A, fiscal update and planning.
Okay, so the first one we have is the budget summary report. This is our monthly report that the board sees. Excuse me. I'm still getting over the public comments. So with the what you're going to see a little bit differently on this one is we also included not just the combined general fund, but we included the unrestricted and restricted. This report shows the change from prior month
meaning from August to September, and what those changes were to our budget for the general fund. And you can see on the change column, the overall balance changed by $457,000. And the reason for that is part of the process that we do after we close our books is we post prior year carryovers. And so one of the things I wanted to show the board rather than just explain it was on the restricted sheet that we have, this is mainly where those carryovers are posted. And why is this important? Well, it's important because it does not affect our AB 1200 reserve when this is done with the restricted funds. This is a normal thing that we do every year, posting of those carryovers. It does appear that it increases the deficit, but the majority of that is restricted and again, does not affect our AB 1200 reserve. Are there any questions on this? Okay, the next piece on that is just kind of an update on the budget committee. We did attach the slides. We met last Thursday for our second meeting and basically kind of reviewed what the issues are with the state funding, and our funding is going to flatten out over the next 3 years. But our costs are going to continue to rise, and that's creating a pretty significant deficit over the next couple years. So we talked about that, and we talked about some plans on how we're going to move forward. We're soliciting budget ideas that the committee is going to put them on a different Google sheet so we can solicit those and cost them out for the next meeting. We also put a Google sheet for committee members to ask budget questions. And then also the offer was there that if anybody wants some, because of the complexities of the budget, that if anybody needed some one-on-one, we were able to offer that also. Any questions on the information there? Okay. Enrollment. So the long-awaited enrollment report. What you see here is we are actually showing an increase in enrollment from prior year. And that's welcome news. However, we do have a caveat with this. So due to the changes and being under distance learning, and we're not in student face-to-face where you can actually see and count the students, we still have some students that we haven't been able to contact. Normally, they could be dropped, but about 16 of these students are special ed. So we need to do some extra diligence to ensure following up with these students to see are they continue to be enrolled and why they're not engaging in the distance learning. The other piece to remember is when we do return either to a hybrid or in-student learning model, what that could possibly do, there could be some possible impact to our enrollment that we need to take a look at. So we're going to continue to monitor it on a month-to-month basis. Right now, it is good to see that the numbers are up. However, we're not going to hang our hat on these numbers just yet.
Well, and the other thing, Robert, we're not this year. There's the pay is not related to the numbers. We're going back to a previous year, even though we do like to see increases, because when we go back to actual money per student, we want to see more students if possible.
Right. If these numbers do hold, it will help us in the out years of our budget projections.
Okay.
We'll start to see the effect then, because in our multi-year projections, we were continuing to assume a decline. So this will help us with that. We just need to have, we'll let the numbers go a couple more months and really kind of see where we end up with these numbers.
Okay, and this is enrollment as of September 30th to September 30th last year, but is the increase in the K through 5 or middle school or?
Yeah, I think it was in a majority of it was in the high school level, if I recall.
Okay.
So
hopefully not.
It was also surprising to me too. Is I had heard a lot of other districts experience decline in enrollment. A lot of it had to do with ETK and TK, and understandably so. But our numbers seem to hold strong, and we did verify those that yes, we do are engaging with those students. So that's good to hear.
Super. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, that's all I had for this item here.
Okay. So we're ready to go to 11B, Credo High School Charter Renewal Position.
Yes, if you remember last board meeting, we had the public hearing, and now we have the approval of the charter petition. I'm going to turn over to Mr. Maricall, who will talk a little bit about that process.
Thank you.
Yes. So as Dr. Perez said, we did have the public hearing last time. The Credo High School has requested approval of the renewal of the charter. And basically we've done the review, and we're recommending that we renew it for another term of 5 years.
Thank you. Questions, board members? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the Credo High School Charter Renewal petition?
So moved.
Okay, have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We'll go to 11C, the project and financial update on the bond programs.
Okay. So Mr. Kirby, yes, there you go. This is going to be a little challenging, I think, for the public to see. Yeah. But I know the board did receive copies of this, and we will make sure that we post this online as part of the agenda. So these are some forms that the board is used to seeing. And this is the format that we've been using to kind of track our bonds, the 2014 and 2016 bonds. And we've developed this and put this together by project and how much we spent out of each of the bond proceeds. So some that we spent out of both bond proceeds, and you would have the total cost there on the project. It's broke down by elementary, middle school, high school, district, and then we have kind of an other comment there. These are numbers as of September 30th, 2020, and we do have some of the majority of the things on here are final numbers for those projects. However, we still have some things that we're continuing to pay, and we do have some projects in process. So next slide, please. Okay, this is also a form that the board has seen before, and we're using this form here to kind of track what our revenues are coming in, what our cash balance is, and any expected revenues that we may be having for the programs. In this case, we had our available cash balance as of September 30th. That's $19,813,000. And we're estimating future interest. And keep in mind, this is just the estimate for current year. And then we have developer fees. We have the current fund balance plus a current year estimate. So what we're looking at is having cash available before what we're going to be able to use to pay off the rest of the items that we have. We have $23,628,000 available. The next column we look at is our projects that are completed. However, we still owe money. And I think what the board has seen through this process is it takes a while to pay everything off between actually closing out the project and paying all the final bills on that. The tag building and tech high conversion, those are our balances of the lease payments. So those numbers are going to hold pretty firm on those balances. But then we do have a couple things that have been in our numbers that we need to keep money aside for the UELF office architect fees that we still owe. And then the Tech Middle School Educational Center project, we also had architect fees on those. We still have some money that we're out for the LaBath renovation that we have set aside to pay. And so that would be our first thing is projects complete. And so we need to make sure that we have money set aside for those. Next section is our ongoing and current projects. So these are the projects that we have that are currently ongoing now. For the Evergreen Elementary project, we revised the numbers there to try to get a little bit closer. We still expect when the project closes that there will be some savings. However, we're making a lot of adjustments now on that number. So we're expecting savings, but it to be minimal. The Rancho Cotati High School field replacement, we have the current project cost of $3,525,000. And then the items that we're continuing to have in there, support costs for salaries for those working on the bond as part of their jobs. We also have our district-wide technology replacement, and these are estimates through the end of this fiscal year. And then deferred maintenance, we still have $200,000 set aside for projects for the year. So that gives us the balance available there of $6,800,000. And that's what we have available on that. Now, we also have money that we want to keep set aside. And we've talked about in the past that we have, we've heavily invested in technology in this district, and we know that things are going to wear out and need to be replaced. So we're setting aside $4 million for that. Based on the information you would have seen in a prior, on this slide, in a prior presentation, we did add another year. So we're out through 24-25 with the technology plan that we have to fund. We're looking at funding another $200,000 for deferred maintenance each year. And so those are the estimated costs for future projects. And that leaves us with a balance, cash balance of $1,789,000. Dr. Perez, did you want to step in on this point?
Yes, because of this balance, we'd like to recall or bring back our facilities committee to meet to update, provide them with an update, and also make recommendations on what we should do with these funds that we have, this balance that we have.
Thank you.
Robert, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
When is the lease back paid off on both the tag building and the tech high conversion? Do you know approximately?
Yeah, well, I know that the tech high, the Rancho project was 12 lease payments. And I believe this slide, we've made 3 payments. So that's going to get us, we have another 9 payments starting in October on this. And the tech high conversion was 6 months. So I think we have like 3 or 4 more payments on that to pay off.
And then where are we at with the field replacement? What's the estimated time of completion?
Yeah, that's a good segue. Mr. Savage, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
You know how we can do this.
Hi, Josh.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
So yes, we're still projecting to be complete with the track and field replacement by mid-December to end of December.
Okay, I just wanted to check with COVID and whatnot if we were still. And then what about the Evergreen project? Where's that at?
In the Evergreen project, we plan on being complete June, July of next year of 2021.
Okay.
So,
and then, Robert, when do we stop the support costs? That $76,500. Is that going to stop June of next year once the field and the Evergreen project are done? We won't need those funds to move over anymore, I assume, once we're done with those projects.
Yeah, as soon as Josh stops spending a lot of time on the bond projects, we will no longer have those costs in there. But surprisingly, there's still a lot of work, and a lot of his time is spent on managing the bond projects.
Okay, and the last question, when do we expect to get the final bills I mean, a lot of these invoices are on projects that were done, 2-3 years ago. When do we expect those final bills to come in so we can kind of clean that off?
So you're probably talking about the architect fees that are still outstanding. We'll pursue the architect a little bit more. Frankly, we haven't been in too much of a hurry to pay the money. They haven't sent us the bill yet, so we were going to hold on to the cash as long as possible.
Okay, thank you.
So just a quick question, Joss. I assume where it's not good that our kids aren't back in school, those projects are less impacted due to the schools, due to the distant learning and not the population being there?
Yeah, that is the one bright thing about this is, the contractors are able to, they're just able to work. It's easier to coordinate shutting down utilities and things of that nature. They're just able to continue working. That's correct.
We still have teachers that need power that are working from the classrooms and stuff, but so there is some bright to all this other stuff. So, okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And Myra, why don't you guys let us know, Joe and I, when you want to have this Zoom meeting for the facilities committee?
Sounds good. We will plan, we will get together and plan the facilities committee meeting. And we'll let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Hey, well, that was, we just wanted to give the board an update on where we're at, particularly with the monies that's available. And as we continue to work through and clean things up and make sure that the numbers get a little tighter each time I think we present this information. So are there any more questions? And then we'll move on to the next item.
I think we're ready to move on.
All right, thank you.
So 11D, resolution 2021-7, the matter of school and classroom capacity limits for purposes of granting or denying interdistrict transfers. Request. Myra,
Yes.
is it you?
Yes, that's me. We don't like to deny interdistrict transfer, but sometimes we do have to, based on our capacity, our class caps and capacity. So what this resolution does is if we have to deny this, we have something in place so that if parents, parents from another community want to appeal to SCO, we have this resolution saying that we will honor what we can until we are capped. And really it is to protect the space of our own community for our own students. Anyway, and that just helps us with the appeal process. And it's a recommended resolution for approval.
Okay. Board members, questions? Not hearing any. Can I have a motion for resolution 2021-7?
So moved.
Okay, can I have a second? I will second it. Roll call.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Chimino,
Yes.
Trustee Gillis,
Yes.
Trustee Nahn,
Yes.
Trustee Wilchermuth,
Yes.
Okay, we'll go on to 11E, resolution 2021-8, in support of Proposition 15, the California Schools and Local Communities Funding Act of 2020.
Yes, this was a recommendation from our labor union partner, RIPSIA, to approve this resolution that really will assist us in getting additional funding for our schools. This would not happen until 2025, but this is a resolution in support of that proposition, of Proposition 15. Did I leave anything out, Mr. Markall? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think the funding numbers that were discussed and with what Ms. King had presented, I think the key is it's going to be gradually implemented over time through the 25-26 school year. So if it does pass, then basically it's going to take a while before we actually start to benefit from that. So it's going to be gradually phased in if it does pass.
Thank you. So, any questions? If not, may I have a motion for 11E, Resolution 2021-8 in support of Prop 15?
So moved.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call?
Yes. Trustee Brown?
Yes?
Trustee Chimino?
Joe, where are you? Did we lose Joe?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Gillis?
Yes.
Trustee Non?
Yes.
Trustee Wilchermuth?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Motion carries 4-1. So we will go on to 11F, acceptance of gift and donation to schools and the district. So we have a contribution from the Education Foundation of Cotati Park of $20,000. So a big thank you to them. And I don't know if this is from their recent auction or just in general their fundraising. So a big thank you that goes out to them, and we can always use this money in various ways. So thank you. So I need a motion to accept the donation from the Education Foundation of Cotati Park.
So moved.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
With a thank you.
Okay, with a thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, assume opposed. So I assume that passed 5-0, hearing the ayes. So then we'll go on to 12A, board member reports and future agenda items. I'll go first this time. So when Addison was talking about being evacuated, I just want to hopefully that all our staff and extended families for those students outside of the district hopefully made it through the last fire. This is getting tiring and old, and I'm sure everyone can assure that. I had 2 co-workers from the Santa Rosa Fire Department lose their homes in this fire, and then several other people I know. So it's relentless, you know, what fires and the COVID. So there's a lot of stress from that going on. I hear a lot of stress from parents and understand their frustrations and not wanting to come back. I hear stress and frustrations and concerns from teachers and staff to reopen. And this is just a difficult time. And we'll make it through this. And I know staff is doing that. This is something we haven't done before. This is the first time through this. So it's a learning experience. And we'll be better. We'll get through it. It's just going to take time. So that's all I have. And thank you, everyone, for all you're doing. And another thank you to the Education Foundation for their $20,000 donation. No other board members? Tim?
Sure, thanks. I just have one thing. I sent Myra and Lef sample resolution and some language to honor the lands of the Pomo, Miwok, and other indigenous people who've been on this land for thousands and thousands of years. And I think it's time that the board recognize and honor the indigenous people of this land. And I would request that we bring that forward as a recommendation for the November regular board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Jennifer?
I just want to say I've had a lot of conversations with parents. As we know, there's a lot of frustrations going on. I know everyone's working very hard to keep an open line of communication. I think we need to have a little bit more information go out as to what is going on right now. Some parents were thinking that we'd be having conversations at our board meetings in October to discuss reopening. Even though we are not in the, we're still in purple, they still want to hear the conversations being had so that they know what our plan is. So I think we need to have some more information go out to everybody, please.
Okay, thank you. Joe?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for all the hard work of all the teachers. I know I've been struggling with it. My son hasn't been hitting the marks that we're used to seeing. But what's awesome is, a teacher reached out to us. Another person who knew that we were having a hard time reached out and gave some advice. I took the Zoom meeting, like the little parent training with Maria Freebaron Smith to help with, just ways to talk with your kids and how to deal with this additional stress, which was like super helpful. It definitely changed. Just within a week, it kind of changed the tone of our household. I feel for everyone that's having to do that and give up a lot and not used to seeing the results that we're used to seeing. And it is disheartening to know your child's potential and not being able to see it, not just in school, like my kids, my son, he's on a highly competitive soccer team, and all these skills and all these things he's been working on and training all the time, he doesn't get to do that anymore. And his behavior is changing because he's not getting the exercise like he used to with other people. And I just want to say I feel the pain of everyone that's out there because I'm dealing with it too. And I really again want to say I appreciate all the teachers that have been super supportive and trying their hardest to make this situation that we don't have a control over. We're being told how we can open, when we can open, and they're just doing whatever they can. And I just want to say thank you.
Okay. Carissa?
Thank you, Les. I just want to say a couple of quick things. I keep hearing from a lot of people that there's no trustees that have children, and that's just not true. Joe just spoke about the fact that he has 2 children in our district, one in elementary and one in middle school. He's married, he works full-time, and he also does distance learning with his kids. It's a difficult situation. I have 2 grandkids in the district. We're all parents. Everyone on this board has children. I think we all understand the strain that parents are under. We understand what the staff and teachers are going through. I tell you, I'd be the first one tomorrow open the doors, but our goal, our responsibility is to keep people safe. We have to keep everybody safe, healthy, alive. There's a lot of talk about let people who want to go back to school go back to school. Well, it's not that simple. We have mandates from the county, mandates from the state. I know that Myra is working, Superintendent Perez is working very hard behind the scenes with all staff to come up with the plans for reopening. As Emily King said, they have a 40-page MOU, and I'm sure it's going to get larger as we go. So we've just got to stay the course, as difficult as it is. I read today Riverside County has to close again. They're not going to close their schools yet, but a lot of their businesses have to close. It's happening all over the country where schools are opening, and within a couple to 3 weeks, they're having to close again. And until we can get a handle on the virus in a large capacity, we're just going to be struggling. So I wish there was something more that the board could do. We can't just open the school because we want to. I know that many schools in Sonoma have applied for a waiver. I don't believe she has approved, Dr. Mace has approved any yet. So we've just got to try to have a little bit more patience, as difficult as it is. My daughter's struggling with her 2 kids. One of them's in EXL, and it's a difficult and demanding program. So we're just all doing the best we can. I want everybody to understand we're not just sitting around wishing things were so. We're doing everything we can to come up with plans to reopen schools. And in the meanwhile, we do not want somebody getting sick in our district. So thank you. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Okay, we'll go on to the 12B superintendent's report.
Yes, it's been a little bit of a while since we met. So there's a few activities. I held student interviews with our middle school students, LJ and Tech Middle School. Our budget committee has met twice, and we've been working through, the different learning about the budget and what we need to do to balance our budget. We've been meeting, met with RIPSIA for meet and confer. We also, I met with the SEUI president, Brian Wigmore, to talk about repurposing some of our staff to support our teachers and distance learning. So kind of change the job a little bit. We met with SCO leaders. I met with them to learn about differentiated instruction and the work differentiated assistance. And the work that's been done prior to this, I wasn't aware of the work that the district had been doing. So I met with the SCO leaders, and they're providing support. I've taken the Masters in Governance course for school finance. We also had a RIPSIA negotiations team to discuss the hybrid MOU. So that is in the works. It was a really good session. We still have some work to go through. And also we had the President's Commission on Teacher Education for Sonoma County University. Sonoma State University requested our attendance at a meeting, and it was a really good conversation. The other thing that I decided to do, because I know that not everyone's going to want to return to in-person learning, is I met with the principal that's basically running a virtual academy in San Rafael City Schools. So what was really good about that meeting is I found out that they have about 376 kids that are on distance learning for the entire year. They are elementary students. And so they're currently part of that elementary school, and they will return to their home school. For this year, they're going to remain on distance learning. It was a really good conversation to learn about kind of the problems and how to address those problems. This principal told me, this is what you don't do, here are the mistakes I made, and this is how to make it better. So that we can offer that option here in Cotati Rohnert Park once we decide to, or know we can open, we can have multiple plans for to accommodate our families. And that's it for my report.
Just one more comment before we adjourn. I don't know if people are noticing, there's a vacancy on this screen. So I want to thank Julie Signard, who was promoted to a superintendent in a neighboring district in another county close by, for all her contributions. And I want to thank staff for, picking up the ball, because it's going to take several months probably to fill that position. So I realize that Myra and Robert and other staff members are being asked to do more. So thank you, everyone that's doing more during that time. And we'll get through this. As one door closes, another opens, and there's opportunities. And I've told Faith that current staff will fill that void. It's difficult by the time we get there, but a thank you to staff for that. So with that, let's go ahead and adjourn this meeting, and thank you very much and good night. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.